Alright, as you all know, because I've been flooding Twitter and Tumblr and blip 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 with all this Lost stuff, tonight was the series finale of Lost. In case you didn't notice, I'm kind of a big fan. You know, I just looked down at the timer and it said 23 seconds. Friggin' weird is that? You know, because of the whole like 4, 8. No? Alright. Anyway, if you did not watch the series finale, watch it before you watch this video because I'm only going to talk about my opinion on it, obviously. Okay, I don't really know how to express how impressed I was by the way that they wrapped up Lost. Jack becomes the new Jacob. Locke talks Desmond, well, he makes a deal with him to turn off the light on the island. And Jack and Locke get into this like heated battle because the island is being destroyed now that the light has gone out. And Locke stabs Jack, but then Kate comes up behind him and kills him. And then Jack just pushes him over the cliff and he lands and he's done. Now a bleeding Jack has to go turn the light back on while Frank Lapidus and Miles and Richard are all getting on this plane to leave the island. So Jack tells Kate and Sawyer and Hurley and Ben to all go. But Ben and Hurley choose to stay behind. Jack gives up his position as Jacob to Hurley because he knows he's going to die turning back on the light. Then meanwhile in an alternate universe, all these people, all of the characters are running into each other and running into the person that they loved while they were on the island. And when they meet that person, love is the thing that makes them remember their whole life on the island. And so this whole time you're wondering how this whole thing is going to come together. And you don't get it until the last scene. Jack goes into a church and looks at the coffin where his father should be, and his father is not in there. His father is standing behind him. And his father tells him that Jack is dead. And Jack remembers dying, and he remembers this whole thing. He remembers everything that all the other characters have already remembered. He finally accepts that he's died, as did all the other characters. And they're all waiting in this room of the church, and Jack is in a separate one with his father. Ultimately, the moral of this whole thing is that the island was real life. The island was actual existence. That was their human life. And the island just brought them there. Jacob brought them there to connect them. Christian Shepherd says that the most important time in Jack's life was the time that he spent with the people on the island, because ultimately the island did redeem them all. The alternate universe turns out to be a sort of purgatory in a sense, where they all have to wait to find their soulmates. And I think soulmates is used lightly in that they're all each other's soulmates. There's not like one individual romantic soulmate. There's a huge group of people that are all meant to be together and go on this spiritual journey together. The cool thing was that as Jack and his father were having this conversation, there's a stained glass behind them. And on the stained glass was a symbol of all world religions: Buddhism, Judaism, Christianity. They weren't really trying to address a specific religion. They were trying to just intertwine them all together, which I think is really interesting, because when it comes to spirituality and things like that, I have to say that I think that all religions are onto the same thing. They all have this really like beautiful scene where everyone sees everyone again. Boone is there, Shannon's there, everybody's there, all the people from the beginning. And while this is happening, it's flashing between these beautiful scenes in the church to Jack stumbling through the jungle on the island, bleeding out from being stabbed. The last thing that happens is Jack falls to the ground, and Vincent the dog comes and lays and licks him. Jack sees the plane that Lapidus and Miles and Sawyer and Kate and all them were on fly away, meaning that they get off the island. And the last scene is Jack shutting his eyes. And right before that, you see Christian Shepherd open the doors of the church to this overwhelmingly white light, which I guess you consider heaven or nirvana or something like that. They learn that they all had this life together on the island, they all have died, and now they're moving on together because that's what is meant to happen. All their souls are intertwined. But it was just really some beautiful scenes, some beautiful music. I think that Lost is not only about spiritual journey, but Jack's individual spiritual journey, because ultimately he was the last one to be enlightened. I have to say that I was not expecting this at all to be what the show was all about. I didn't think it was going to be that satisfying to me. I thought that I was going to be the one left thinking about all the philosophies and the underlying meanings, but really they just put that out there and they showed, no, this was what the show was about, not this other interesting time travel, cool stuff like that. It was about this man's journey. No other show has ever told a story like that. And this life was ultimately just a test to see what side you were on, good or evil. So I have to say that the philosophies and the definition of life, really, that was portrayed by Lost was so powerful and so interesting, and something that I've kind of already believed on my own. I think that's why I find it so amazing. And if it had gone on any longer, it probably wouldn't have ended this way. So I have to say that I'm actually happy that it's over. Damon and Carlton, writers, anyone involved in the creation of the show, J.J. Abrams, seriously on another plane. And I think that's awesome. I want to be their friend. They really put forth such a powerful message that I think so many people fail to really see, that this whole life isn't really about material things. It's about finding those people. So anyway, that is my thoughts on the finale. Super, super impressed. I hope that everybody else understood it. And I hope that everybody really takes to heart the message that was put forth here, because I think it's really important no matter where you come from, no matter what your beliefs are. What did you guys think? Were you satisfied? Did you get it right away? Anything. Alright, see you in another life.